The mind has a dark side. Most fear it. Few understand it. Dark Mind Insights. Master the unseen.
Niccolò Machiavelli understood a truth most people spend their lives avoiding. People are not as loyal as they appear. They are as loyal as their interests allow. In The Prince, power is not protected by trust. It is protected by awareness, by the ability to see intention beneath behavior. Because the greatest threat to your position, your peace, your progress is not open hostility. It is quiet observation. It is the person who listens more than they speak, who smiles at the right moments, who never opposes you, because opposing you would reveal them. But here's what most people don't realize. By the time betrayal becomes visible, it is already complete. This is not about fear. This is about removing illusion. Lesson 1. Hidden jealousy. Jealousy is not loud. It is disciplined. Most people expect jealousy to look like hostility, criticism, distance, obvious resentment. But real jealousy is controlled. It adapts. It blends into normal behavior. It studies you before it reacts. But here's what most people don't realize. The most dangerous jealousy comes from those who once admired you, because admiration creates attachment, and attachment creates comparison. At first, they look up to you. Then they start measuring themselves against you. Then they start questioning the difference. Why you and not them? That question doesn't disappear. It evolves. You begin improving your life. Your discipline sharpens. Your results increase. Your confidence becomes visible. Someone close to you initially supports this change. They encourage you. They ask questions. But over time, their curiosity becomes quieter. Their compliments become shorter. Their tone becomes neutral. You share another success, expecting the same energy. Instead, you receive a brief acknowledgement, followed by a subtle shift in conversation, redirected away from your progress. Nothing obvious, but something is different. This is where it gets dangerous, because jealousy rarely announces itself. It withdraws enthusiasm. Humans naturally compare themselves to those within their proximity. When someone nearby begins to rise, it disrupts internal balance. That disruption demands resolution. There are two ways to resolve it. 1. Improve oneself. 2. Mentally reduce the other. Most choose the second, quietly. Jealousy does not need to harm you immediately. It only needs to change how someone perceives you. Once perception shifts, behavior follows, and behavior creates outcomes. But here's the question most people never ask. What happens when admiration turns into quiet resentment and you don't notice? Lesson 2. Fake loyalty. Loyalty is easy when it costs nothing. Anyone can appear loyal when there is no pressure, no risk, no sacrifice required. Stability creates the illusion of strong relationships, but stability proves nothing. And this is the mistake people make. They measure loyalty during comfort instead of conflict. Niccolò Machiavelli observed that people remain loyal as long as it benefits them. The moment loyalty becomes inconvenient, it weakens. Not always through betrayal, often through withdrawal. You experience a setback, loss of status, influence, or momentum. Suddenly, the people who once surrounded you begin to change. They don't confront you. They don't betray you openly. They simply become less available. Messages take longer. Plans disappear. Conversations lose depth. You are not rejected. You are deprioritized. This is where it gets dangerous, because indifference feels less threatening than betrayal, yet it reveals more. Humans align with strength because strength represents security. When your perceived value decreases, the psychological incentive to remain connected also decreases. It is not personal, it is structural. Fake loyalty survives in calm environments. Real loyalty reveals itself when association becomes costly. And this is where most people lose awareness. They mistake consistency for loyalty when it was only convenience. Not all threats oppose you. Some observe you closely. They don't challenge you, because challenge creates resistance. Resistance slows progress. Silent competitors choose efficiency instead. They learn. They adapt. They position themselves without being noticed. But here's what most people don't realize. The most effective competitor is the one you never identify. You openly share your strategies, how you think, how you move, how you solve problems. Someone consistently listens. They appear engaged, supportive, interested. They ask precise questions, not random curiosity. Targeted curiosity. Later, you begin noticing something unusual. They start executing similar strategies, but with refinement, better timing, better positioning, better results. They never mention where they learned it. They simply progress, quietly. Observation is leverage. The more someone understands your decision-making process, the easier it becomes to anticipate your actions and outperform you. They are not competing with your current position. They are preparing for your next move. The greatest advantage you can give someone is insight into how you think. But here's the unsettling part. How many people around you are learning from you, not to grow with you, but to surpass you? Control does not require force. It requires access to your emotions. This is where it gets dangerous, because emotional manipulation does not feel like control. It feels like connection, like concern, like someone who understands you. But understanding can be used in two ways, to support or to influence. Every time you begin to assert independence, setting boundaries, focusing on yourself, reducing availability, someone reacts subtly, not aggressively, strategically. They express disappointment. They question your change. They create emotional tension. When you return to previous behavior, their warmth returns. This creates a pattern. Discomfort when you grow, comfort when you regress. Over time, your behavior adjusts without you realizing it. This is conditioning, reward and withdrawal shaping behavior. It bypasses logic entirely. You don't analyze it, you feel it. And feelings drive decisions faster than thought. The most effective control is the one that feels voluntary. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If someone can consistently shift how you feel, are you really in control? Information is leverage. The more someone knows about you, the less they need to guess. And the less they guess, the more precise they become. And this is the mistake people make. They believe sharing creates closeness, but it also creates exposure. You trust someone enough to reveal your insecurities, your fears, your doubts, your past. It feels safe in the moment, controlled, mutual. But later, during tension, those same details reappear. Not as support, as pressure points. They know what unsettles you. They know what triggers reactions, and they use it with timing. This is where it gets dangerous, because it doesn't feel like attack. It feels like familiarity turned against you. Once someone maps your emotional responses, they no longer need to overpower you. They only need to activate you. Predictability removes resistance. The less predictable your reactions, the harder you are to influence. But think carefully. Who knows enough about you to destabilize you if they chose to? Betrayal is not sudden. It is gradual, structured, predictable. But here's what most people don't realize. They always notice the early signs. They just don't respect them. It starts small, minor inconsistencies, slight dishonesty, subtle disrespect. Each moment is easy to dismiss, too small to confront, too inconvenient to address. So you ignore it. Then it repeats. Then it escalates. Until one day, the pattern becomes undeniable. But by then, the damage is already done. This is where it gets dangerous, because betrayal does not shock you, it confirms what you avoided. Humans avoid conflict because conflict disrupts emotional stability. Ignoring early warning signs preserves short-term comfort at the cost of long-term clarity. Every major betrayal begins as something minor that was tolerated. And the real question is, how many warning signs have you already seen and ignored? Distance is not withdrawal, it is control. The more accessible you are, the easier you are to read. The easier you are to read, the easier you are to predict. And predictability is vulnerability. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that power is maintained through controlled visibility, not constant presence. You begin limiting what you share. You reduce unnecessary explanations. You become more selective with your time, your attention, your availability. The response is immediate. People become more cautious, more attentive, more respectful. Not because you demanded it, because uncertainty replaced familiarity. When people cannot fully understand you, they hesitate. That hesitation disrupts manipulation. Uncertainty creates distance. Distance creates protection. You don't need to isolate yourself. You need to control access. And this is where it shifts. What happens when people can no longer predict you? Final conclusion. Niccolò Machiavelli did not teach distrust. He taught awareness. Once you begin to see these patterns, jealousy, silent competition, conditional loyalty, you stop reacting blindly. You start observing. You notice what others ignore,
the pause before someone responds, the change in tone when you succeed, the subtle shift in behavior when your position changes. Nothing dramatic, but everything meaningful. And slowly, your behavior changes. You speak less, you reveal less, you trust patterns, not words. This is the transformation, from participant to observer, from reactive to strategic. You don't become cold, you become precise. Once you reach that point, you are no longer easy to influence, because influence requires predictability, and you have removed it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And when you can't be read, you can't be controlled. If this made you aware of what you once ignored, stay with that awareness. Like the video, subscribe, and comment aware. Because once you understand the pattern, you stop being part of it.